Adaeze was the most beautiful girl in Umuofia village. At 19 years old, her skin glowed like polished bronze. Her eyes were bright and intelligent. She helped her mother sell vegetables in the market, and every day young men would come just to catch a glimpse of her. But Adaeze's family was desperately poor. Her father had died 2 years ago, leaving behind debts that seemed to grow like weeds. Her mother, Mama Adaeze, struggled to feed 4 children. They lived in a small mud house with a leaking roof. Some nights, they went to bed hungry. Adaeze's younger siblings, Chidi, Obioma, and little Ngozi, often had no money for school fees. "If only a good man would marry you," Mama Adaeze would say, looking at her beautiful daughter with tired eyes. "A man with money, someone who could help us." Adaeze didn't want to marry for money. She was in love with Ikenna, a poor farmer's son who made her laugh and treated her with kindness. But she saw how her mother's back bent under the weight of poverty. She saw how her siblings wore torn uniforms to school. She knew what she had to do. Then, one Wednesday afternoon in November, everything changed. A black Mercedes pulled up in front of their house, the only Mercedes most people in the village had ever seen. The whole neighborhood came out to stare. Rich people didn't come to their part of the village. From the car stepped a woman who looked about 60 years old. She was short and round, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She wore expensive lace fabric and heavy gold jewelry that clinked when she walked. Her name was Mama Obi, and she walked with the confidence of someone who had never heard the word no. Behind her came 2 men carrying a large box. "I am looking for the mother of Adaeze," Mama Obi announced loudly so the whole street could hear. Mama Adaeze came out, confused and nervous. "I am her mother, Ma." "Good." Mama Obi looked her up and down. "I have heard about your daughter's beauty. My son needs a wife. I have come to pay the bride price today." Mama Adaeze's eyes widened. But you haven't even met her. Don't you want to see her first? Don't you want to bring your son to meet us properly?" "My son is ill. He cannot travel. But I have seen your daughter in the market. She is perfect. She is exactly what we need." Mama Obi's smile didn't reach her eyes. "I am prepared to pay handsomely." She snapped her fingers. The 2 men opened the box. Inside was more money than Mama Adaeze had seen in her entire life. Bundles and bundles of crisp naira notes. There were also gold jewelry, expensive fabrics, bags of rice, crates of drinks, and a land certificate. 2 million naira, Mama Obi said, plus the land beside the main road worth another 3 million, plus everything you see here. This is my bride price offer. The neighbors gasped. 5 million naira total for a bride price? That was 10 times what anyone in the village had ever paid. Mama Adaeze's hands trembled. With this money, she could pay all their debts. Her children could finish school. They could rebuild their house. They would never be hungry again. I need to discuss with my daughter," she stammered. "Of course." Mama Obi smiled that cold smile again. "But I need an answer by tomorrow. I have other girls I can approach if your daughter is not interested." That night, Mama Adaeze explained everything to Adaeze. "Mama, this feels wrong." Adaeze's stomach tight with fear. "Why would anyone pay so much money? Why doesn't the son come himself? What if he's terrible? What if he's cruel?" "He's sick," the woman said. "Maybe he's shy. Maybe he's just very wealthy and doesn't care about money." Mama Adaeze took her daughter's hands. "Adaeze, I would never force you. But look at your brother and sisters. Look at this house falling apart. This money could change our lives." Adaeze looked at little Ngozi sleeping on a thin mat, her stomach rumbling from hunger. She looked at Chidi's school uniform, torn and patched so many times it was more patches than original fabric. She thought about Ikenna, her beloved Ikenna, who had nothing to offer but love. I'll do it, she whispered, for the family. Mama Adaize hugged her daughter and cried. The next morning, Mama Obi returned. The bride price was accepted. According to tradition, there should have been months of courtship, family visit, traditional wedding preparations. But Mama Obi insisted everything happened quickly. My son is very ill, she said. The wedding must happen this Saturday, 4 days from now. He believes a wife will help him recover. It was all so rushed, so strange, but the money had already been paid, the contract was sealed. Adaize sent a message to Ikenna. I'm sorry, I have to marry someone else. Please forgive me, please forget me. She cried herself to sleep every night. The wedding day arrived with dark clouds covering the sun. Adaize sat in her room while the village women helped her dress in the expensive wedding clothes Mama Obi had provided. A beautiful white gown with gold embroidery, coral beads worth a fortune, and a veil that was so fine it looked like expensive lace. You look like a queen, the women said, but their voices sounded worried. Outside, Mama Adaize was crying. Are we doing the right thing? She asked her sister. I have a bad feeling. The bride price is paid, her sister reminded her. There's no going back. Maybe your feelings are just normal mother worry. At noon, Mama Obi's Mercedes arrived along with 2 other expensive cars, but still, the groom did not come. Where is your son? Mama Adaize asked. Shouldn't he be here? He's too weak to travel, Mama Obi said smoothly. He's waiting at home. We'll do the traditional wine-carrying ceremony there. Everything is prepared. This was highly unusual. The groom always came to the bride's home, always. But what could they do? The bride price was paid, the contract was weighed. Adaize hugged her mother goodbye. She hugged her siblings who were crying. She looked one last time at her village, at the only home she'd ever known. Be strong, Mama Adaize whispered in her ear. Make the best of it. We'll visit you soon. But something in her mother's voice told Adaize she didn't believe that. Adaize got into the Mercedes with Mama Obi. The car began to move. They drove for hours. They left the paved roads and took a narrow dirt path into the forest. The trees grew thicker and darker. The sunlight barely reached the ground. Where exactly do you live? Adaize asked nervously. Not far now, Mama Obi said, staring straight ahead. They passed abandoned farmland, they passed a burnt church, they passed a graveyard so old the tombstones had crumbled to dust. Finally, deep in the forest where no normal person would build a house, they arrived at a massive compound. The house was beautiful, a modern mansion painted white with a high fence and a large gate. But something felt wrong about it. The air was too cold. No birds sang. No insects buzzed. Everything was silent, like the forest itself was afraid to make noise. The gate opened itself. The Mercedes drove through and the gate slammed shut behind them with a loud clang that made Adaize jump. Welcome to your new home, Mama Obi said, and this time when she smiled, Adaize saw something horrible in that smile, something hungry. They got out of the car. The compound was beautiful but strange. The flowers in the garden were all white. White roses, white lilies, white hibiscus. There were no red flowers, no yellow flowers, no colors at all. Just white, like a funeral. 2 old women came out of the house. They looked like servants, but their eyes were empty and they moved strangely like puppets on strings. Take her to prepare, Mama Obi told them. Wait, Adaize said. Where is your son? I want to meet my husband. Soon, Mama Obi said. First, you must bathe and prepare. It's tradition. The 2 old women took Adaize's arms. Their hands were ice cold and they led her into the house. Inside, the mansion was even stranger. Everything was expensive, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, golden decorations. But there were no photographs on the walls, no family pictures, no personal items. It looked like a hotel, not a home. They took her to a large bedroom with a massive bed covered in white silk sheets. In the corner was a bathtub already filled with water. But the water was dark red, almost black. "What is this?" Adaize asked, her voice shaking. "Bridal bath," one of the old women said in a flat, dead voice. "You must bathe in this. It's tradition in this family." "That's not water. What is it?" The women didn't answer. They started to undress her. "No, stop. I'll bathe myself." Adaize pushed them away. They stepped back, but they didn't leave. They just stood there staring at her with those empty eyes. Adaize's hands trembled as she looked at the dark red water. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to escape, to get out of this house. But where would she go? They were deep in the forest. She didn't know the way back, and the bride price was paid, 5 million naira. If she ran, her family would have to return money they'd already spent. She was trapped. "I'll bathe with normal water," she said. "Bring me normal water." The old women looked at each other. Then they shuffled out without a word. Adaize locked the bedroom door behind them and leaned against it, breathing hard. Her wedding dress suddenly felt like a cage. This was wrong. Everything about this was wrong. She went to the window and looked out. The sun was setting, and the forest looked even darker and more threatening. In the distance, she thought she saw movement between the trees, shadows that moved wrong, shapes that didn't look human. She heard footsteps outside her door. "Your husband is ready to meet you," Mama Obi's voice called. "Come out and meet your husband. He's waiting for you." Adaize's heart nearly stopped. This was it. She was about to meet the man she'd married, the man she'd sold herself to for her family's sake. She opened the door. Mama Obi stood there, her face impossible to read. "Come, it's time." She led Adaize down a long corridor lit with white candles. The house was completely silent except for their footsteps. They reached a large door at the end of the hall. "He's inside," Mama Obi said. "Go in alone. It's tradition for the bride to enter first." Adaize's hand shook as she reached for the door handle. It was ice cold. She pushed the door open and stepped inside.